Ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube universe, what is going on with you? It is Friday, November 4th, 2022. I'm, of course, your always gracious host, Fallon from GoNootropics.com, coming at you with the Ghost Energy Chairs. Good to see you guys. We are sipping on a little caffeine, and we are cruising through a video today. This is the official announcement of the 30-day No Kratom Challenge happening Monday, November 7th, 2022. For all of you who want to get off Kratom, you want a support group, I'm coming off the Kratom. Whether we get enough people or not to do this challenge, I'm coming off the Kratom, baby. It is just something that I am just done with. Just done. Put a fork in it. Been there, done it. Been there, done the Kratom. And I'm just going to come off for good. And this is called the 30-day No Kratom Challenge. Those of you know, we've done one of these challenges before. And with a smashing success for, a few people. Not everybody made it the whole 30 days, but a lot of people made it, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They kind of cracked there towards the end. And recently there seems to be some rumblings underneath the surface. I'm getting a sense that there's a lot of you in the comments, some of you in the Discord, that want to come off Kratom, that are just kind of tired of it. It's like a nag, man. It's like a nag. You're like beholden to this thing, the Kraken. The Kratom has become the precious. You guys know Golem. I made that video called The Precious Kraken. It's become this precious. It's become this precious for me. It's like, gotta have the precious. Gotta have the precious at all costs. And if you don't have the precious, it's like the precious is on your mind, It's like you get a girlfriend, she's a new girl, you're young, and she becomes the precious. It's like you just want to suffocate the thing, right? Just suffocate it. All you can do is think about the precious. Your whole world revolves around the time of your doses. It's like, you can't go out and do this unless you have the Kraken. You don't have any on you, but you got to go do this thing, so you got to run back to the house to take some, to get some. And it just becomes this nag, man. It becomes this nag that drags you down. Now, I know not all of you feel this way about taking Kratom. Some of you are just, coasting along. KOAS, coasting, baby, just coasting along on the Kraken. And you've come to terms with the fact that this is something you're going to be on for life. You're, in your 40s, in your 50s, you're dealing with a pain problem, etc. And that's great. Some people are going to be taking Kratom. They need to be taking Kratom for pain. It's better than being on the pain pills, etc., etc. But for those of us still young, still with some hope in this dying world, baby, we're kind of looking at it knowing that we're taking it to just numb out, baby. We're taking the Kratom to numb out. And we know that there's more to life than the Kraken, right? Even though we're getting things done in our life, we're taking the Kratom, but we're just finding that it's sapping our drive to go out and do better. It's sapping our drive to go out and get the things we need. It's just sapping. It's sapping our energy. It's sapping our life force. It's sapping our sex drive. It's sapping our motivation. And it's just one of those things we know we need to come off. And, I've came off of Kratom before, but it's a very curious addiction, isn't it? It's so benign. It's so subtle. You just put it off into the future. It's like, I'll do it tomorrow. And as the old saying goes, tomorrow never comes, baby. Tomorrow never comes. Next thing you know, you're a couple months into taking Kratom. Now you're 6 months into taking Kratom after a year, which has kind of been about, I've been taking Kratom more or less for a year consistently, save for the 30-day challenge we did, many months ago. Save for a 2-week kind of break I took just recently. I've been taking Kratom more or less 15 to 20 grams a day for a solid year. And at that point, you start to evaluate it. You start to see the money you're dumping into it. You start to see how it's taking from you. The precious ends up taking from you. The kratom, I describe it as like, one of those, what do they call them, chia pets, where you put it in the water and it grows. Well, the kratom kind of starts off like that. It's like this cuddly little thing. And then as you're taking it, this thing begins to grow. It begins to mature inside of you. And next thing you know, this chia pet is all soaked, and it's grown into this monster. It's grown into this thing that is unrecognizable from the beginning. It was cute, it was cuddly, it gave you warm, fuzzy feelings on the inside when you took it in the beginning. And now it's grown into this kind of nasty monster. And yeah, while you can maintain your life on kratom, you can maintain, the things you need to do. You go to work. It gets to a point where a good chunk of your life is revolved around taking the green sludge. And man, I'm taking it 5 times a day, 6 times a day in like 4-gram doses. And it's like, I don't need to be taking this. It's taking from me. I'm spending too much money on it. It's taking from my life. It's taking from my energy. It's taking from the things I want to do. I'm just kind of numbed out. I take kratom, and oftentimes I'm just dazed out. I'm just dazed, not necessarily confused, but it's like kind of like a Brave New World where you're just dazed out, vegged out. I'm really not uploading videos anymore, and that's because the kratom has started to create a kind of like depression. It's sapped some kind of motivation that I used to have. What little motivation that I had before, and it was small, has now been extinguished. So I'm coming off of the kratom. I know this is something I need to cut out of my life. You might be watching this. I had a video that did pretty well in views in terms of, my videos that I do. I get maybe 300, 400 views per video. Back when I had my previous channel before it got banned. But the kratom videos have been doing pretty good. And I'm seeing a lot of you guys a lot of you want to come off of the kratom. A lot of you are tired of being beholden to the Kraken. You're realizing that this is something you don't need to take. Maybe you don't know the way forward. You don't know the way forward. It's become a more serious addiction than you might have thought it was. Once you're taking it daily for a year, doesn't something snap in your head and say, wait a second, let's take a step back. Let's take a step back, address the landscape, assess the landscape, and just ask ourselves the question, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Is this something that we need to be taking every day when you're young? There's people in the Discord, early 20s, 19 years old, taking kratom every day. It's like, what are you doing? I understand society is kind of a shit place. Culture is kind of a shit place. Things have been taking a nosedive, for a long time. And it's like you're taking kratom, you're engaging in all these kind of quick acting dopamine hits. You're taking kratom. You're watching YouTube videos all day. Of course, you go to your job, you work and all that. But when you get home, you take kratom, you kind of veg out, you crack one down the grater, baby. You crack one down the cheese grater. And as you take that kratom, as you crack one down the cheese grater, don't you look into the mirror? Don't you look deep into your own eyes and ask yourself, is there more to life than this? Is there more to life than working, taking kratom, watching videos, cracking them down the grater? Don't you look into your eyes and say, you know what, this is not the life that I imagined for myself. And I understand there's forces out there, especially nowadays, that seek to keep you in this zone, just keep you kind of in this haze, to keep you in the haze, and you're apathetic. You're not moving. You're not going anywhere. You're just kind of stagnant, taking the kratom. God forbid you're taking other things, right? Back in the days, it was not just kratom for me. It was the kratom. It was the phenibut. It was all these other things. I've been sober off alcohol for a long time. It'll be 3 years coming up on New Year's. But you add in all these little things, the kratom, the caffeine, perhaps other nootropics that you take. Maybe you're somebody who does drink, maybe on the weekends. And all these things add up. And you find yourself in a place where you're just not mentally stable. If you take kratom long enough, if you take these things long enough, it's kind of a slow burn. But eventually you do kind of snap out of this haze, and you start to realize that, man, I'm not as stable as I used to be. I'm overly emotional. These small things are kind of nagging at me a little more than they need to be nagging at me. And life starts to crush you, right? And you don't know you're in the compressor because you're numbed out. You're numbed out, baby. The kratom does numb you. And I think it's worth everybody to take a second look, to take a step back and say, you know what, is this something, is this what I had planned for myself? 19 years old, early 20s, 30s. Is this something I want to be taking every day? Do I have any larger goals than what I'm doing now? Is there a possibility for a brighter future than all these bad habits that I've picked up along the way? Nobody sets out to be an addict. Nobody sets out to be an alcoholic. Nobody sets out to, take kratom every single day. And for a lot of us, it feels like, well, this is the only option. I feel like shit. I feel like shit without it. And to take that step into the darkness, to take that step out into the darkness and say, you know what, well, let me try to work on this. Let me see what I can achieve, And to take that step is kind of like, it's a scary process that we don't want to admit. It's scary to step away from the Kraken. It's scary to step away from a lot of these things that we've become dependent on. But if you want to progress and you want to get to a spot that's better than where you are, it's a step you got to take, baby. It's a step you got to take, and I guarantee it's a step in the right direction. So this is the 30-day No Kratom Challenge happening November 7th, 2022. This is coming up Monday. If you're watching this video and it's past the 7th, just hop on into the Discord anyways. You'll start later than us, but there's no reason why you can't join if you're watching this video and the 7th has passed. Click the link into the Discord. Create a Discord account. We all had a good time last time. Of course, we all suffered during the challenge, but it was something that we all did together. It was something that was a camaraderie amongst everybody who was taking a part in the challenge. And it's, in my opinion, it's easier when you have other people doing it, when you know in your head that you're not the only one eating the shit sandwich. You're not the only one going through the withdrawals, going through the insomnia or whatever they are. Take solace in the fact that you're not the only one, that there's a lot of us that are doing this, and you're not the only one eating the shit sandwich. We're all going to eat it. We're all going to sit down at the table, slap some mustard on that shit sandwich, and chow down, baby, for 30 days. This is going to be the end of the rodeo for me. But I do the 30-day challenge because 30 days is like a bite-sized thing. One part of addiction is not wanting to come off the thing forever. And this is kind of how the thing pulls you back in, is imagining that this is the last time you take the thing, whatever that thing is hard for the brain to process. You get a lot of resistance from the mind when you say you're quitting for good. So I say quit for 30 days. And what happens is it makes it psychologically easier to process 30 days. Your brain can wrap its head around 30 days. It can't wrap its head around eternity. So I do the 30 days, knowing full well that most of you by the end of the challenge, at the end of the 30 days, it's going to be easier for you to make that decision to quit for good if that's what you want to do. So this is the 30-day challenge, baby. Click the links below in the description. This is the Discord that we've had set up for a long time. There's people in there. It's not dead. And there's going to be a number of us taking part in this challenge. Some of us are not going to be taking part in the challenge. A lot of people in the Discord are daily Kratom users. They've been taking Kratom for a long time. They have no plans on stopping, right? But it's an ecosystem where there's people struggling with their Kratom addiction, and there's people who have kind of just come to terms with the fact that they're going to be on it forever, and that's okay too. But this 30 days is for the people who want to quit, who want to get a handle on this addiction, kick it once and for all. So that is what is going on. November 7th, 2022. Be there or be square. As always, Fallon, gonootropics.com. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you very soon. Peace.